What's hiding underneath things can be scary. Underwater, under your bed, especially what's under your carpet. Except when you get new carpet from Carpet One Floor and Home. After tearing up your old carpet, they'll vacuum and apply Health Annex antimicrobial to your subfloor, disinfecting and killing mold, mildew, and any remaining general awfulness. Carpet One Floor and Home goes the extra mile to protect you, your family, and your home. Carpet One Floor and Home in Columbia, making your home beautiful, guaranteed.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021. Good to have you with us this morning. Suzanne Opperman is over there across the studio from me, Smart Recovery. And as we start 2021, I think it's nice to talk about people turning their lives around, because that's basically what you're trying to do with Smart Recovery, correct?
It's helping people learn how they can turn their lives around if they choose to do so.
You have to choose to do so yourself.
That's correct.
You can't. And it's so hard, I think, if you have a loved one who is having a problem. Let's say they're addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, and it's obvious that they are, and you're trying to help them. It's hard not to start preaching and telling them what they need to do, because that is not the right way to go, is it?
No, it's not. It's essentially, how would you feel if somebody told you all the time that you were wrong? How would that make you feel?
Well, it would make me feel bad.
Right. And that doesn't give them any motivation to change. It just drives them deeper into their feeling bad about themselves.
Okay, let's say you've got someone very close to you or a relative who is an alcoholic. I mean, it's just out and out an alcoholic, and drinks themselves into oblivion.
Yeah.
How do you reach that person? How do you, as a loving, caring relative or friend, reach that person and help them?
You have to catch them when they're not under the influence, which can be difficult, because there's no point in saying or doing anything if they are drunk or high, or because you're wasting your breath. Catching them.
So how do you deal with them at that point when they're drunk or high?
You distance yourself. You don't interact with them. You don't get caught up into arguing with them. You don't take the bait of them wanting to get into a fight with you, because then they are redirecting the conversation to be about you instead of about themselves.
Okay.
And catching them when they are sober, or they're not gambling, or they're not overeating, overspending, all these things that can be addictions, just like any chemicals or alcohol. Catching them when they are not in the midst of this, and slowly providing them positive support, which is really difficult to do until you first take care of yourself. And today what I wanted to focus on is the family and friends portion of Smart Recovery. I work with people who have been in marriages, relationships. It's their children, if they're adult children, teens, adolescents, to help them learn to find positive things to find in their loved one that they're doing or saying, because it's a very slow process to let that positive stuff start to sink in, because it's hard for them to hear.
Right.
Because it's contrary to the negative feelings they have about themselves. And the issues that family members or loved ones go through, and I brought my damn it doll because you are so angry with them. But that doesn't do anything except make the person in dependency more defensive. And so to work on your own feelings, for loved ones, the first thing is to realize that they need to work on themselves first, because they're so focused on their loved one having problems, they don't take care of themselves. And so their self-value keeps going down and going down as the person with the dependencies goes down and down and down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiral that they get into, and they feed off each other because the loved one gets more angry, so then that helps the person with dependencies feel more deserving of doing whatever it is they're dependent on, and so you see this vicious cycle that develops. So first, what needs to happen is the person that is watching their loved one with dependencies turn their focus around on themselves. They have to identify the feelings that they're having and be willing to work on changing the anger, the resentment, the things that they actually can control those emotions inside themselves if they learn how to do that. And so Smart Recovery has a handbook for family and friends, and it helps you learn how to do this.
So you have to learn to turn off your anger towards that other person, or turn off your resentment towards the other person for what they're doing.
It's not so much turning off as stopping when anything happens. Like, say, somebody almost runs into you in the street, in your car. Your initial reaction is to be angry and go, "They almost hit me." Pause. Take a deep breath. They didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident. You're choosing to be angry about it. So it's the same thing with your loved one. They are doing all these things, not specifically directed at you, but anybody that would be around, so that they can continue to do their negative activity. So you have to check your own feelings, because you're getting angry at them only makes things worse. And by focusing on your needs and taking care of yourself first is how you start to change the cycle. It takes two people to be in a relationship.
Yeah, and it's not being selfish. Think of yourself first.
That's it. Yes, and that's the biggest obstacle people have.
People think that they're being selfish if they're trying to take care of themselves instead of the other person. You're not being selfish.
No.
The only way it's going to improve is if you take care of yourself too.
And this is the book that I recommend most of all for people to look at that have loved ones. It's called Beyond Addiction. It's written by two very well-known and respected psychologists. It helps you to look at what you are doing and work on yourself before you work on that other person.
And it's available at the library?
It's available at the library. It's also on audiobook. I highly recommend people get this and read it. It's also available through the Smart Recovery bookstore.
Or you go to Suzanne's mentalhealthwellness.com. Okay, and that will get you more information.
It will.
Suzanne, thank you so much for coming by. Please come back again.
Thank you very much for
having me.
having me.
All right, we're out of time for today. Bye-bye.